Mulnivasi, Jai Samadhan, Jai Bharat. Today we are in this session. First of all, welcome all of you to MNT News Network. Today the English discussion is going on, and rest of the day we are doing Hindi discussion. So today I'll invite Ashish Jiwane sir, Director of MNT News Network. The topic for today is Mulnivasi identity and its significance, and I'd request Ashish Jiwane sir to guide us with what do we mean by identity and how do this affect in one's life and one's personal behavior. So please.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Jai Bhim, Jai Mulnivasi, and thanks for inviting me for this today's discussion and topic. As far as this today's discussion is considered, so we are going to discuss about the identity, specifically the Mulnivasi identity and its significance. So
Yes,
definitely
sir.
the topic is of very importance. And basically, if we see today's topic, first we will try to understand what and how does this particular identity it means. If we see, if you try to understand what exactly identity means, so it can be defined as it is nothing but a unique set of characteristics that can be used to identify a person as themselves and no one else. Basically, how a person can be identified, how to know a person. So from that aspect, this identity has this concept of identity or the terminology of identity has brought forward. Basically, it is a comparison of one person with other person. We can distinguish a person to person with the help of identity. And various elements or characteristics of identity, it can be a caste with respect to caste, with respect to race, with respect to ethnicity, with respect to gender, with respect to age, sexual orientation, or his physical attributes, his personality, socio-political affiliations, where he is associated with, he may be associated with some of the social organizations, he may be associated with political organizations. So people often identify himself with his work also. If somebody is working for BAMSEP organization, they other persons may identify himself as BAMSEPala, or if some people is working for one particular political party, they will identify the particular person with his political affiliations that he belongs to that party. Also, there are various religious beliefs which also is an important and element of identity. There are professional identities some are doctors, some are engineers, some are workers, some are working in particular building industry. So a labor. So all these attribute to the word identity. So even professional identities also gives identity of a person. So basically, this identity it plays an important role in empowering every individual to exercise his day-to-day life, their rights, responsibilities fairly and equitably in the modern society. So everything depends on this identity. How the person is identified based on that. The rights and basically they can exercise their rights and responsibilities. So just to understand basically how it impacts or how what is the importance of it. Some of the study was done in 1960s, and again it was repeated after 10 years. And in this study, basically some few boys and girls from different countries were brought in one of the room, and they were set to stand in front of one table where various dolls were kept in front of them, and there were some white dolls and there were some black dolls. So the experimenter asked the students to point out a good baby. So immediately, most of the students they pointed out the white baby as a good baby, and then when she asked about the bad baby, then the students pointed out toward the black doll. So this is how the students reacted. So we can think of what made the students to think that white is a good and black is a basically bad, or it is of less importance. So this white versus black thinking, which comes to the student's mind, it defines the identity. Basically, that white is a good identity and black is basically not a good identity, a secondary identity. So basically, from this example, we can say that the thinking of the students that white belongs to good and black belongs to bad. So where it comes from? Why these annotations come to? Why these notions come to their mind that between these? So this is basically coming from the social environment they are brought up, the overall thinkings, ideas that are running in the society, that this particular bombarding is there, that this particular belongs to good, this particular belongs to bad. So likewise distinctions are being made in every country based on these characteristics of identity. And even if we come to a common man thinking, normal thinking is that the costliest thing are compared good than to the cheaper one. So how do person feel that costliest things are always good and the cheaper things are always not comparable with the costliest one? So these all are notions, basically thinking of a human mind, to think that what is good and what is bad, who is good and who is bad. So these all are with respect to identity. So it is basically it is formed by one's own personal features. So if we see how it affect human behavior, so definitely it will affect, because it will affect your self concept, your sense of value, your sense of self esteem. It will also affect your sense of perceived control. It remembers the hierarchy in the society, that there is a ladder of power. Somebody is holding the power, somebody are in the supreme position, and somebody are not in the supreme position. So basically these all notions are defined by this identity. So this identity is very very important, and that plays a very important role in one's behavior, or one's means how a person can live his day to day life. It is defined by their identity. So that's why it is very very important to understand about this particular concept, and to see how this basically to what extent it impacts the overall behavior of a person.
Yes,
For
sir. Yes, sir. Shall we go to the next question?
sure.
And my next question is, what is history of identity and how it was evolved, and how our forefathers discussed on this particular concept? Matlab, what is the concept that goes to their mind for our forefathers, and they have discussed this particular concept for us?
Yeah, very good question. Actually, it's very, very important to understand how it is evolved, and how it has come to present generations. Basically, if we go to the literature, old literatures like Rigveda, Upanishada, Manusmriti, Mahabharata, and all the old literatures which were created in a very age-old time, that has defined the human identity. And there they had defined the identity of basically which hierarchical identity they had defined, they had defined with the help of varnas, and overall ladder system also they had defined, that basically who is supreme and who is not a supreme, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and later on Shudra. Or they had defined basically the degraded identity to the original inhabitants, and that themselves had defined as a superior person. So they had given the identity. They had defined they had distinguished basically the people into different groups. So some people they had defined and identified as Brahmins. Few people had defined as Kshatriyas. Few people had been defined as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and then few people have identified as Shudra. So, on what basis they have defined this identity? So that is already defined in all these old literatures. So basically, this identity of degradations of this particular caste, which belongs to a majority in our country. So this is coming from this who had developed this particular system. So basically, if we see the Aryan invention theory, then even Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar had also explained in various volumes and literatures how this has been evolved and what is the history of it. So basically, if we see the particular few people who were very in minority, they wanted to rule, and they wanted to rule not for a small time but for a longer time. So they developed a system. They developed criteria to rule the country for the majority of their time. So therefore, they defined this system, and they defined the rules and regulations for each and every individual who is grouped in this particular system. Like they have defined some rules for Brahmas, they have defined some rules for Kshatriyas, they have defined some rules for Vaishyas, and they had also defined the rules for Shudras. So basically, based on these rules and regulations defined by few minority people, that is how it was initiated, it was evolved. And then if we see the development after that, so after this degraded system that was established in our society, when we see the historical aspect from Siddhartha Gautam Buddha, he also tried to understand the sufferings of the people, why people are suffering from various things. So when he tried to understand that, he found out that there are majority of people who are in one common category, and they are basically the sufferers of this system. And then he identified them as a Bahujan, and he had given the concept of Bahujan Hitai, Bahujan Sukhai. So basically, Bahujan means many, means majority, and Bahujan Hitai, Bahujan Sukhai, basically what it means that it is for the happiness of the many and for the welfare of the many. So it gives the message that these peoples are the majority of the people, and he wanted to work for such a concept, so that the majority of the people should be happy, and there should be welfare of the majority of the people. So basically, Gautam Buddha, after he attained self-realization, gave sermons to his disciples, and the first sermon that he delivered to his five disciples was the Dhamma Chakra Pavatam Sutta, meaning the turning of the wheel of the Dhamma, which was further interpreted as Bhujan Hita and Bhujan Sukha. So in his first sermon also, he had elaborated this system of Bhujan. So basically, this again is identity given to our people who were suffering from this social system. So Buddha, according to his dictum, excessive luxury and excessive work were both to be shunned in order to achieve this particular aspect of welfare and prosperity among majority of the people. And that's why he called for a madhyam marg, or middle course or path, to assure the welfare and progress in the life. So after this initial conceptualization of this four varna system, Buddha came up with the identity of Bahujan, or majority people who are suffering from this system, and these people should a system should be there in such a way that the majority of the people should be happy, and the majority of the people should work for their welfare. So this is how the concept was evolved. Even after that, this concept, if we see in the All India Radio also, when it was established in 1930, they also came up with the slogan of Bahujan Hitaya and Bahujan Sukha, and their motto was to work in nation's masses in the fields of education, information, and entertainment at one of the largest institution in the world. And even the emblem which they had formed, they had inscribed this particular wordings so that it can pass on the message. So we can say that this aspect, or this concept of Bhojanita and Bhojan Sukha was a concept based on the identity that a particular group of people are there who are suffering from this aspect. Even after that, if we see Rashtrapita Jyotiba Phule, when he studied this particular system, and he also challenged this particular system and particular these whatever is there written in this all the old literature of Rig Veda, Upanishad, this Manusmriti, Mahabharata, and he tried to explain by challenging all these people, because he questions how the creator Brahma managed that time to do all these creative works of the world, since to reproduce four purushas or four varnas from our body parts. I mean, basically, he tried to, he challenged and he tried to get a solution, basically answer for this, that as far as the normal technological thinkings are considered. Basically, it cannot be possible that within the four parts of the body, four people can be created. Basically, it cannot be, and he told that one has to go through menstruation for almost around 16 months in a month, and he not only rationally questions and exposes the lies in the Purush Shastra, but also insulted the focal point of Brahminical traditions, which considered a menstruating body as a impure. So basically, he tried to challenge based on the natural things, that how it is possible to get such identities. And even in his book Gulam Giri, he had given this concept after challenging that there are people who are, and to define the clear identity between the masses of sufferers and who are imposing the particular overall system on them. So he identified them as basically Shedji Bharji versus Shudra Atishudra. So he tried to define the groups within the society into two categories of Arya Shedji Bharji. Basically, Shedji Bharji are the people who are the beneficiaries of this system. So that is also an identity. Shedji Bharji is an identity to identify that among these social system, these are the people who are the benefiters of the beneficiaries of this system, and the Shudra, Ati Shudra are the people, are the identity given to those people who are again suffering from this social system. So that was the identity it was created. So again, it was based on the majority of the people, that these particular majority of the people are suffering from this system. So that concept of Bahujan, which was followed by that concept of Bahujan Hitai Bahujan Sukha, evolved by Gautam Buddha. It was carried forward by Jyotiba Phule, and he tried to define the category in his own identical identities. With Shudra, Ati Shudra are the people, are the Bahujan people, are the majority people who are basically the sufferers of the system, and other people, others who are beneficiaries. So he tried to define between beneficiaries versus the sufferers of the system. So that was again as a part of historical evolution after Buddha, then Jyotiba Phule. Then after that, even if we see the movement of Santas, even Ravidas, Sant Ravidas movement, if we try to study social movement, if we try to study, he also given the concept of establishing a Raj, which will have basically happiness within majority of the people. So he said in Hindi that ऐसा चाहूँ राज में जहाँ सबन को मिले अन्न. मतलब he tried to say that I am imagining of such a state where every individual will be benefited with a food, every individual will get a food. So that was the identity he tried to establish. So that again narrates to the Bahujan identity, that Bahujan people are the people who are sufferers, and all these people should get the minimum basic requirements of food. So he tried to establish in his particular aspect. After that, if we see Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar's movement, Shahu Maharaj's movement, then all our forefathers they had tried to define and continued this aspect of the depressed classes, or the identity of such people who are basically the sufferers of the system. So basically, the clear path which was imagined, or which was brought forward by our forefathers is, these are the Bahujan people, or these are the people who are suffering from the social system. So this majority of the people, they are kept aside this system. So basically, this system was carried forward. But after the independence, if we see, there are various crises, or various discussions among these identities, because after India got freedom, there was various rights given to these people in the form of the constitution. So various rights were given to to bring these people in the main fold of the society. And but after that, again in the media, which was even governed by most of these people, they tried to establish or limit our forefathers to some particular caste. And even Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar was taken into the media as a Dalit leader, and they tried to identify with the name. Always they were trying to identify him as a Dalit leader, and they perpetually tried the economic as well as the media and electoral politics that he is a Dalit leader. So basically, if we correlate these terminologies with the overall involvement or with the overall aspect of his overall involvement, then if we try to understand this particular word, the word Dalit reflects the stigma attached to the caste system, and it gives the humiliating degradation of the human personality. And even it was used to some extent by the political leaders to gain some advantage among the a particular caste. But if we see the overall involvement of Dr. Ambedkar and his overall work that has been done, then we can see that he was not a leader of a particular section of the society, but he was a leader because he spoke for women, he spoke for OBCs, he spoke for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and the majority of the people who were suffering basically. So, but even there is a continuous discussions or communicate, or there are some confusions with the help of this identity as Dalit identity versus Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar's thinking. So, if we see Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar's, he never used the word Dalit as an identity. Instead of that, he tried to explain this particular section with different sections, and even some of his thoughts or some of his thinkings give this clear picture, because once he said that you cannot build anything on the foundation of the caste, you cannot build up a nation, you cannot build up a morality. Anything that you will build on the foundation of caste will crack and will never be a whole. So what he wanted to say through these the wordings or through these lines, that caste system or caste identity is not the one that will uplift you. So you cannot build anything on the foundation of the caste. Even Dr. Ambedkar thought that otherwise. Basically, he thought that because Dalit was never in his category to name people or identify the people with this particular category. He in fact constructed positive and respectable identities. Basically, if we glance through his literature, in his writings, he progressively discarded and outrightly rejected the idea of Dalit wordings or Dalit politics. If you see his wording, he used Bahishkrut. Bahishkrut means outcast, who are kept away from the main fold of the system. He tried to use Prabuddha. Prabuddha means enlightened one. So enlightened ones are the identity he tried to establish or give to these particular people. And even when he went to the roundtable conference, also there also he tried to emphasize more on depressed classes, or he had even some times identified these people with Republican. So all his literature gives basically a positive identity, and it never gives a disrespectful identity. Whereas the Dalit word, if anybody is ensuring saying the word Dalit, it gives a particular identity who are disrespected, who are not respected in the society. So that is how this identity plays a role. And in if we see in various of his speeches, also he had clearly tried to explain. Even if he goes through his volumes and even his books, basically what Dr. Baba, what Gandhi had done to the untouchables, or who or the even the this who were Shudras, or who were the who were the depressed class persons. So all his literature, he emphasized more on not on the Dalit identity, but identity of depressed classes or a section what was identified by Buddha, by our forefathers. So same aspect he carried forward, and he used this particular aspect of overall Bahujan concept basically. So if we see right from start of the evolution of this history of identity, and what our forefathers thought. So Buddha, Baba Sahab, Shahu, Ravidas, or any of our Periyar, or any of our forefathers, they try to identify ourselves with respect in the society. So basically, this is how till date, basically the majority of the people who are sufferers of this system, they are identified as a Bahujan, and that is carried forward till today. Even the social organizations like BAMSEF, who had established to bring what these all sections of the society in one fold. They had also studied the overall literature of our forefathers and their movement, social movement, and then inferred on coming to this concept of Bahujan. So that is how this overall concept or historical developments of this particular concept got evolved.
Okay, sir. Moving to our next question. With the reference to Mulnivasi identity, whether this identity is accepted all over and where it stands.
Yeah, basically, this is a very important question, and there are various aspects that are related with today also. And today also, there is no straightforward acceptance to this particular concept or to this particular identity, because many of the Bahudans and Samaj people, they are against the Mulnivasi concept. So, if we try to understand why they are against the concept of Mulnivasi, then we will come to know that basically this there are various things. First, we will try to say that BAMSEF as an organization, they had evolved this concept based on the theories or the social movement that our forefathers had run. And what I explained earlier, this is the same one. Basically, Mul Nivasis are the indigenous people of this country who are the sufferers of this system and who are the basically kept away from the system for thousands of years. So they are identifying all these groups under the Mulnivasi concept. But this Mulnivasi concept are not straightforward accepted by our people, and because there can be various reasons. Some of the reasons can be they don't know their true history. That's why, because history is not written by us or by the people from this particular community, but most of the history which is taught in the curriculum, it is written by these people who are the beneficiaries of this system. So why they will try to write the true history? Because that if they are trying to not get benefit from this concept, then they will hide the true history and they will put whatever is beneficiary to maintain their system. So that is one of the reason that it is not wholeheartedly accepted by the entire society. And there is second thing is that there are the formation of groups like scheduled caste and OBCs, and they had made their thinkings like scheduled caste always think that OBCs are doing the majority of the atrocities on them, and OBCs are thinking that scheduled caste are the degraded people. So these thinking also try to divide the sections of this particular society who both are the sufferers from the system, but since they don't know the history and their mental this is captured by the Brahmanical theories, so they are behaving or reflecting this particular aspect on them. And they also scheduled caste particularly, they are followers of Ambedkarism and they believe in Ambedkarism. So they try to restrict Dr. Ambedkar within their section, and they propagate him as that he is their leader and not the leader of OBC. So this also has a hindrance in creating the Bahujan society or the Mulnivasi society. And even just to defend or just to target some of the organizations, some of the peoples are against the social organization like BAMSIP, and they try to create confusions within the society. So these are some of the questions basically why this is not getting accepted. So today the world is going through the phase of revolution, and various uprisings in the various countries are going on. So there is revolution and counter revolution in the past, and today also it is taking place. But in the modern era, when we see almost for the last 170 years since Pule Shah Ambedkar movement has started, and contemporary to Pule Sahab's period when the slaves were enjoying slavery till today, there has been considerable socio-economic developments among the Bahujan Samaj people. And today, if we see these particular developments, then there is some development, but this development in thinking that is very very less. Basically, only 2 to 3% of the beneficiaries of this movement, Pule Shahu Ambedkar movement, are only they are benefited, and they are only trying to understand this particular aspect. And the rest of the people are in abject poverty, or they are deprived with basic human rights and still living a miserable life. So we should accept the fact that we are unable to generate force, or we are unable to generate or mobilize our people to fight against the tyrannies. One of the major reason is their social division, which is because of the established graded inequality, which I told earlier. In the name of caste system, today also, because of caste system, the identities are defined, and these basically caste system and its identity has converted the majority of the people into minority. Like this Bahujan Samaj, it has been divided into minority sections, and the minority, which is very very small section of this overall population of the country, specifically the Brahmins and the Maniyas, they this system had made converted them into the majority. So basically, this caste system identity is has converted majority into minority and minority into a majority. So considering this aspect, BAMSEF or its associate outfits, they have relaunched this concept of Mulnivasi, which was originally started by Phule Sahab, Baba Sahab, and even Siddhartha Gautam Buddha. So basically, the Brahmins and Baniyas took a cognizance of it, and they know the impact of this Mulnivasi concept, and with their usual strategy of creating confusions among the Bahujan Samaj people, they had launched a furious debate on the Mulnivasi concept. Recently, if we see, these people are trying to make various debates and try to confuse the people, and they also tried to propagate more on the Dalit identity rather than the Mulnivasi identity or the Bahujan identity. And we have observed that some of our own people are also they are against this concept, and they follow the basically they are attracted towards what Brahmins or Baniyas are saying, because of the impact that they try to understand only from one aspect of what they are telling, but they don't want to analyze it, what our forefathers had said or what their literatures had said. So basically, this is how the Mulnivasi concept has little resistance in the society. If this continuous bombarding or continuous awakening is brought with respect to the social movement, or the messages or the literature that our forefathers had given to us, then definitely this will make effect. And even Dr. Baba Ambedkar said that those who don't know their history can never make history. So it's very very essential to understand, to know our history, what our forefathers had said, and how this concept of identity has evolved, and which concept will benefit to which particular sections of the society. So that is very very essential. And our true history is, as I said, it is not included in our syllabus. So basically, whatever is there in the syllabus, students get to know about the history from the syllabus, and that's why that makes their mind to think what is there in the syllabus. So it is the duty of the people who first who are the sufferers of this system to understand this particular our own history, and rewrite the history as per our forefathers' directions that they had given. And if this syllabus is get included with our true history, then definitely there will be an impact on overall identical this crisis, or identity concepts that needs to evolve in the society. Most of our people are not aware of the exact materials or the books which our forefathers had brought forward. So definitely, when a Brahmin is writing a particular literature or particular article, it will give a different annotation, and when a particular person from that particular community is writing, it will give different annotations. So basically, confusions are created by Brahmins by writing more and more literatures. So the confusions are created, and confusions leads to the confrontation, and confrontation leads to the division, and ultimately this division leads to surrendering ourselves before our enemy. And that is the reason that our most of the intellectual class, they get surrendered because they don't read their own books written by their forefathers, but they whatever comes to in front of them, they accept that one, rather than going analyzing what is there behind the concept. So definitely, if you read a book on Shivaji Maharaj written by Maratha Seva Sangh and a book written by Purandare, you will find lot of contradictions between the same two books. So a person who is defining this particular criteria or particular this one, it will have different message basically from both the books. So that is how this gets reflected, and even our literate class, though they are educated, but social education is where they are lagging, and since they are not having the social education, it is means they surrender themselves. So that is the reason, one of the reason that this particular aspect is not, or this particular concept is not getting established within the society because of these resistances. So we have to know our history, and we have to understand our forefathers path or way they had given, and we have to see how basically this concept is going to impact on overall development of our society, or even development of our own people. So basically, we have to analyze this in particular direction, and other things which are fueling in the societies are basically the thinking that scheduled caste are against the OBCs, backward classes. So they think that they are both are our enemies. Both think that both are their enemies. So that is one of the reason why it is not getting established. Then again, Brahmin use OBCs to do injustice and atrocities against SC/STs, and this results in conflict between SC/ST OBC. So the more conflicts are there in these particular sections, it will not means mold, or it will not turn it into the majority creation of majority of the society. And OBCs also think that they are in the upper ranking as far as the caste hierarchy is concerned, and scheduled caste are considered. So that is also their thinking. And then the OBC call themselves again as a Hindu, and they follow Hindu religion and festivals. So that is again the prevailing thoughts that is there in the society. Most of the Buddhists, they don't think that their forefathers, even the Siddhartha Gautam Buddha, was thinking, is thinking that are not for them. So that is how it is restricting to accept Buddha within the OBCs. And most of the OBCs imitate the Brahmins. Basically, they try to imitate and they try to follow the Brahmins. So whatever they say, they will follow. And most of them, these people, they don't follow Baba Sahib, or they don't write or try to understand what who Baba Sahib is, or what they had written, what he had written for them. And most of them are the members of these particular organizations like RSS, and they try to attend their shakhas daily, diligently. And whatever thoughts come from there, they try to reflect these thoughts through their daily lives. Way of life they are living. So basically, these all facts we need to understand, and then see why this is not getting accepted. So there are various things which are not developed to that extent. That is why we could not find the overall formation of this concept, or this formation of the Bahujan society or the Mulnivasi society within this particular custom. So if these are means proper social education, if it is made, and proper thinkings are propagated in the media, then definitely there is a chance that these majority of people who belong to this particular country, who are the indigenous people, who form almost more than 85% of the mass of this population of this society. These are the people who are the sufferers, and they belong to one blood. Then definitely all these things will try to evolve towards the formation of a society which Buddha thought, which Ravidas, Sant Ravidas thought, which Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar thought, or all our forefathers thought, that can change or it can basically move towards this particular aspect of forming the overall aspect of overall aspect of creation of this society of a majority of people, for and they can then rule for them, and they can evolve for this particular aspect. So this can be happened with various ways. So there are various ways are there. So one is basically the socio-political awareness that needs to be brought. Now the beneficiaries of this social organizations are only 2 to 3%. So these 2 to 3% people has to take a call, and they have to lead the society to generate more and more awakening within the society for this concept, in getting this concept accepted, this majority concept accepted by the people. Then there are various, as far as India is a democratic society, and it is governed by the constitution, which itself has given various rights to the citizens of this country. So that is again a part of a democratic system. So even politics is a part of this political is this overall democratic system. So definitely there also people has to capture that particular that power, and they have to evolve some system or evolve some concepts regarding this Mulnivasi, this particular concept, and then they have to establish that one. So basically, how Mulnivasi concept can counter the caste system? Mulnivasi concept basically gives the sense of oneness. That is, we all belong to one particular community. It tells that the foreigners are still present in our country. Means Mulnivasi versus non-Mulnivasi, indigenous people versus non-indigenous people. That gives clear identity, like Shetji, Bhatji, and Shudra Tishudra. That is clearly derives a margin between our enemies and our brothers. So clear-cut margin or clear-cut demarcations can be there with the help of this Mulnivasi concept. It gives us our true and lost identity. So this is the, as our forefather said, this is the identity, and our lost identity. We can bring it back. And also it integrates us with a unique and most powerful bond of fraternity and brotherhood. And also it leaves no scope to our enemies to infiltrate and thereby sabotage our movement. Means basically infiltration can be avoided with the help of this concept. It leaves no scope to our enemies to create any confusion, so confusions also can be avoided. It reminds us to our ancestors who had established the most rich and heritage civilization on this particular earth. So we have a very huge and rich civilization or rich heritage with us, that also will create a positive impact. It gives a proud feeling of honor because this creates a self-respect. We are the people who are the resident of this country. We are the original inhabitants of the country. So definitely that creates a proud feeling. It gives us and our people the confidence of attaining and regaining the same civilization back. It gives us the strength to live one fold to a new identity. Basically, now whatever the identity is there among the majority of the people, that is Hindu identity. So it will give us a strength to come from that fold to the new identity of Mulnivasi. So Baba Sahib has given the identity of Buddhist. Even I mean, basically, our OBC brothers are not happy with the Hindu identity, and they are trying to, when they are made aware, they are trying to shift or they are trying to embrace other religion, so that that religion which will get benefit to them. And it also segregates the 15% puppet rulers against the 85% innocent ruled ones, because these were the people, 85% were the Mahojan people who were ruling this particular country. So that gives clear segregation. And this concept, it counters and would annihilate forever the most heinous system on this earth, which is there for prevailing for the last thousands of years. So that also system can get break because of this. So we are the warriors of this country who has been blessed with the strongest enemies on this earth. Let us all join together to fight this ideological war, to emancipate our Mulnivasi Bhojans from the tyranny of Aryan Brahmins once again. So basically, this Mulnivasi concept is the concept which is going to convert in particular way, so that if this really happens, then these sufferers can again become the rulers. So that is how it can benefit the society of the sufferers. Over to you.
Yes, sir. Sir, not, last but not the least, we want to you to convey some special message to our viewers on this particular topic.
Yeah. Basically, whatever I have tried to explain, that whatever concepts will can be there in the society, but we should, every individual should try to understand how majority of people can get benefit, irrespective of whatever identity or whatever concepts are prevailing in the society. We should think of others. We should think of the sufferers. We should think of the we should not think of the beneficiaries. If we are continuously thinking of the sufferers who are basically suffering from suffering in the society from others, then definitely if every individual is thinking for others, what our constitution also says, basically constitution also in its preamble says that we have to form a society based on the Buddha's concept of Bahujanita and Bhojanita, or whatever this society based on liberty, equality, fraternity, and justice. So where everybody will get justice, the society or that type of country we have to form. So every individual has to think. He should not create confusions within our societies with some particular aspect. No, no, no. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar had said that Dalit is a identity, and we should take that only as our identity, and we should not think of, see, whatever is ideas are coming in the society, we should keep it away. We should only think that every individual should only think that how I can be beneficial to others. And every if the same person who is thinking the other way, that he should think that how I can get benefit, then definitely we can form a society based on our forefathers vision. We can form a society as per our constitutional preamble, and we can form a society which can benefit to us as well as our society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this wonderful session. We are blessed from. Thank you for from MNT News Network for giving such a special discussion to us and lots of information. Thank you.
Yeah,
Jai Bhim,
thank
Jai
you.
Mulnivasi.
Jai Bhim, Jai Mulnivasi, Jai Swatantra. Thank you for inviting.